Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 172, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fiber Nymph on Ravelry, Plurk, and Instagram. Today is Tuesday, September 8th. It feels like a Monday because here in the States, yesterday was a holiday. It was Labor Day. So, to everybody who had a long weekend, I hope you had fun. Mine was pretty laid back. I got together with some friends on Saturday and worked outside on Sunday. And yesterday I actually worked. I actually died yesterday, so it was sort of like the antithesis of Labor Day, I guess, for me. But I had a lot of downtime too. A lot of knitting time, which you will see coming up because I've got a lot of stuff to show for it. But anyway, welcome. Hello. I'm glad to have you here. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm glad you decided to check it out. And for those of you who have been watching for a while, I'm glad you're back. Let me say hello to a few people. Let's see, got to find my list. Lots of lists this week. We had some people introduce themselves on the 90% Knitting board on Ravelry. There was Nancy from Texas, Tilly from Germany, and Miriam from Indiana. So welcome to all the three of you. Thank you for your introductions. Those are always fun to read. Now I have nowhere to sit my list. There we go. Okay. Let's see. You might have noticed the framing is a little different this week. I'm still playing with settings. I'm trying to record in a larger file format, but not the incredibly large file format that I was having trouble with before. So this is sort of an in-between size, supposedly. The only problem is it's widescreen as opposed to standard screen, and so you see a whole lot more stuff over here on the sides. And I hadn't planned to do this, which is why you're just seeing my office the way it always is. There's stuff. Eventually, I'm going to try to neaten it up, especially if this format works well, processing-wise. I will definitely try to make things look a little bit neater so you're not looking at all my clutter. This is my clutter corner. It's like this is where things get stacked whenever they haven't quite made it to their real homes yet. So lots of things. Well, there's stacks over here too, but you can't see those. These are the ones you can see today. And I don't know what's up with my computer. It is making a lot of noise lately. So that was another thing I did this weekend is I backed up all of my important stuff onto my external hard drive because it's not giving me warm fuzzy feelings that my desktop is doing this surging kind of fan noise a lot lately. It's an old computer, so if it was going to decide to die, it wouldn't shock me. I'm just fingers crossed that it won't. I would prefer to not have to get a new computer right now. So anyway, all that to say is if you can hear that noise whenever the computer's doing that, I am sorry. Like it's doing it now. Hopefully you can't hear it too much. And I also have the ceiling fan on overhead because it's warm. It's September, but it does not at all feel like fall. It has been in the 90s and it has been humid, and so far today I think it's only in the low 70s, so I haven't had to have everything shut up with the air conditioners on yet, but that's coming later today, I'm sure. So anyway, let's get into the knitting because oh my goodness, this has been a prolific week and a half or so. I have a ton to show you, so let's get started. Okay, first of all, I'll start with socks because I've got socks to show you. You might recognize these. I've been working on these for a while. These were the socks that I was knitting along with Disa from Disa's Craftwork podcast. This is my Fiber Nymph Dye Works base, bounce base in the Baubles colorway. And she has a skein of this as well. And we had started out knitting a totally different pair of socks, and then we both decided, hey, this isn't moving along very well. Let's just rip them out and do plain vanilla socks. So that's what I did, and I finished mine up. These had been my movie knitting socks, as you may recall. So I was basically down to just needing to do the toe on the final one and then doing the heels. And you'll remember that since I was knitting them during the movies, I wasn't putting waste yarn in for the afterthought heels. And so I've learned a new skill. I've learned how to do an afterthought heel without waste yarn. This was the first one I did, and it turned out great. I will put a link in the show notes to the video tutorial that I followed. It was from Kirby Warby. It's a wonderful video, very clear, very informative, and that's all I needed to watch in order to do the heel perfectly the first time. I'm just saying. I had no problems whatsoever. The only thing I did differently than how she explained it was once I started knitting around, instead of immediately doing the decreases, I usually do about 3 or 4 rounds straight, which is usually between 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 inch straight, depending on how long I need to make the heel. But it just helps it fit a little bit better for me. So that's the only thing I did differently than how she showed. So this was the first one, and I started, as you can see, between the red and the green stripe, and I inserted it starting with the gold. I can't do this backwards. The gold. That was where I started my heel. So then, since that one went so well, I was feeling a little full of myself. And I thought, oh, I can do the second one, no problem. Well, I totally fouled the second one up. I, again, was going to go between the red and the green. You can see here, I didn't quite get it correct. And the reason for that is when you're sticking your needles into the stitches, you're doing it so that you're leaving one row of knitting between it, because that's what you're going to snip in order to open up the heel space, right? Well, I did this, and I accidentally left 2 rows between. But for whatever reason, I did not notice that until after I had already snipped the yarn, and I'm trying to pick out the yarn, and I'm like, why is this not coming out? It's getting caught on this whole other strand. And that's when I realized what I did. So that was not helpful. So I actually physically, I pulled out the one needle and I re-put it in the correct place. I had about 6 or 7 stitches that I had already forcibly pulled the extra strand out of, so I had to like re-pick up along there, and that part went fine. I mean, I was able to get it back on where I wanted it to be, where it needed to be, not where I wanted it to be. But in the process of having messed that up, I ended up with this little tiny stripe of green, which should not be there. But you know what? It's fine. They're socks. That's going to be in a shoe. Nobody's going to see it. I don't really care that I messed it up. I just think it's really funny that my first sock, I did it perfectly, and then the second one, I'm like, hey, no problem, and I totally mucked it up. So anyway, but they're finished. Again, the cuffs are much higher than I usually make my cuffs because I was knitting them in the movies and wasn't measuring. And so these are about 8 inch tall, which, I mean, I think they're about 8 inches tall. I think that's what I measured. 5.5, between 5 and 6 is my usual cuff length. So I used significantly more yarn. I've only got about 100 grams left. So that's pretty amazing. Anyway, so that is my first finished object this week. I'm very happy to have those done. Add them to the sock drawer, and if it ever gets cold enough, I'll be able to wear them. The next finished object is also a set of socks, and these are my Key West vanilla beans, which these were also a pair of socks that I had originally started in a totally different pattern, and I got bogged down in it, and so I ripped them out this year. I mean, that one I started a couple of years ago. So this year I ripped them out earlier this year, maybe early summer. I don't even remember now. It's been a few months. These have been on the needles a while, even in this second incarnation. And so this is also my Fiber Nymph Dye Works Bounce Base in the Key West colorway. And I just followed Emily Locke's vanilla bean recipe, which is basically you're just slipping stitches every time you come to a color change. So it gives you that neat little detail, and I love that. I've done these socks several times now, and what's super funny is any other time I've done them, once I get to the foot part, because I do cuff down, once I get to the foot part, I only do the slip stitch on the top. I don't do it on the sole. Well, this time, for whatever reason, it never even dawned on me to quit doing it. So this pair has the slip stitches the whole way around, the whole sock, except on the bottom of the heel. I did not do it there. I did it on the back of the heel, but not on the bottom. So when these are on, I can actually feel those slip stitch areas, like it, and I mostly feel it on my arch, and it kind of tickles. But I'm sure they'll be fine. Like, I'll get used to it. I just think it's funny that it never dawned on me to stop doing the patterning on the bottom of the foot, because you don't usually pattern the bottom of a foot. Anyway, they're done. And what is also funny about this pair is the first sock, I had already gotten past the heel where I was going to put the heel in, and it had waist yarn in it. But since I was doing the second sock, at the point where, after I had already done the afterthought heels on these socks without waist yarn, I thought, well, I'm not going to put waist yarn in on this second sock. I'll just do it the regular way. And oh my goodness, the difference doing it with waist yarn versus without waist yarn. The no waist yarn version, so much easier. All you do is you thread your needles in, you snip, you pull it out, you're done. Whenever you're doing it with waist yarn, this has been my experience anyway, you're still threading your needles in, but inevitably my needles kind of get caught on fibers of that waist yarn. And I know that really shouldn't be any different than that strand that's left between the two needles, you know, on a regular, on the no waist yarn version, but for some reason it is. I always get hung up on them, and it takes me forever to pick that waist yarn out, much longer than it's been taking me to pick out the strand of yarn from the no waist yarn one. So let me see, which one was which? You would think I'd be able to tell, wouldn't you? This was the first one. So this was the one with waist yarn in it, I think. It is. And the only reason I can tell is because my joins are actually super neat, but I picked up a ton of, I picked up like 4 stitches in between each needle. I usually only pick up about 2, and they still give me gaps. But since I knew I was not going to end up with gaps doing it this way, I picked up extra stitches, and that gave, the only thing about doing that, I mean, it works okay, but it just gives you extra stitches that you have to decrease. So that, I feel like it kind of affects how your heel turns out if you're doing more decreases, because I still want to do those first few rows straight before I start my decreases. I don't know. Anyway, so this was the first one, which I started in the middle of the green. This one I started in the middle of the yellow, but somehow they both ended up sort of being the same. I don't know how that happened. I'm not going to question it. It's done. They're done. I'm happy with them. So another pair of finished socks. Yay. And both of them are out of my yarn, which is always very exciting. So that's 2 finished objects. I have a third one, and it is my Nurmalintu shawl, wrap, scarf, whatever you want to call it. Obviously it has not been blocked. The ends are woven in, but I tend to not snip my end. Actually, are they? No, you know what, I'm lying. I didn't weave that in. It's not blocked. I'll weave my ends in and then I will block it. Again, I have not blocked my verdure shawlette yet. I have not blocked my mama vertebrae. And I have not blocked this. Part of the reason I haven't been blocking things is because Christopher has been staying upstairs in his sister's room since moving back here. He's just this past weekend finally gotten his room done. We put new carpet in it. He's all put back together, so he's been able to sleep downstairs now in his room. So I have my blocking room back. So I can start blocking things again. But anyway, I am not thrilled with how this turned out. I've got to be honest. It's a cute pattern, and now that I've knit it, I feel like I could do it again and do it much better. Number one, I used a loop bullseye bump that I had spun in the new growth colorway, and it's got some sparkle in it. I don't remember what other fibers it has in it, and I can't find the card at this point, but I love this color progression. And this is all the yarn I had left at the very end, like 10 inches maybe. So I used every last bit of it. It wasn't enough yardage to do this pattern justice the way it was written, and I knew I was not going to have enough. So here was my first lace panel, which is totally messed up because I was forgetting to do the increase on the wrong side, and I kind of gave up on this one, and then I realized what I was doing wrong. So my next 2 lace sections, which are super close together, as you can see, they turned out great. They look exactly as they're supposed to. Except, okay, so this one actually, this one in the cream, it's the only one that actually is exactly as it's supposed to. The motif is correct, it's correct. This last one, which you can see I only had enough yarn to do a very little bit of garter in between. The patterning is correct, but I could only do 2/3 of the chart because I was running out of yarn and I needed to be able to bind off. And it has this nice little picot kind of bind off, which you're not seeing super well right now because it wants to curl because it's not blocked. But I needed to have the yarn to do that picot bind off. So what I wish I would have done, I wish I would have not done as much garter in the beginning and started this first lace panel earlier, and then just done smaller garter panels between the first and the second and the second and the third. I think once it's blocked, it'll be okay. My part of me was thinking maybe I should just tear this out now that I know how it's going to knit up and re-knit it. But no, because I don't love it enough to do that. I like the pattern, it's pretty, but plus, this was not a great spinning job. Look at these. I've got all these little corkscrewy things popping out, and it's just in the green. So I think I must have spun and I must have plied the green segment first, because I have a really bad habit of doing that when I first start Navajo plying. It was either the first or the end. Sometimes I do it in the first because I'm not paying close enough attention. Sometimes it happens at the end because I'm in a hurry and I just want to get it done. But there are a bunch of those little squiggles that I'm going to have to tuck in. So this yarn is not perfect enough for me to even want to rip this out and try again. It will still be quite functional. I have not yet quite figured out how to wear it. Let's see. I don't know. Because I want to be able to see the lace. See, I love the colors and I love how they look together. So, you know, I may need to pin it or something to keep it, but if it's tucked in a coat, it'll be fine. See, I think it looks pretty, even though it's totally messed up. This is full of imperfection, but so am I, so whatever. We match. But it's done. It's a finished object. Yay for finished objects. So, alrighty. And the Nirmalintu was by pattern is by Heidi Allender. The pattern's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the pattern. All of the mistakes in this are user error. Totally. So, alrighty. Moving right along. I have worked on a bunch of things, but out of all the things that I've worked on, there's only one that you've seen before. So let's start with that one. It is my Slinky Ribs pullover, which I'm loving. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy with this project. And you're going to hear lots of needles clanking around because right now I have 3 different sets of needles on the bottom because I'm finished with the body. I forget where I was. I think I was still doing some of the ribbing at the top last time you saw it, maybe. But I've finished the stockinette part at the bottom. I've left all these needles in because I wanted to try it on. I have like 3 different sets of circulars in there so I could try it on. And I'm going to just leave them as is. I have not done the bottom band yet because I'm going to stop there and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my neckline because the neck. This is really low right now. Like right now, it's like way down below, like even where my tank top is going. It's super low, and I know the neckline. The way I'm going to do it, it's going to pull it up a good bit and snug it up. But it's just so stretchy right now with all this ribbing that it's ridiculous. So I want to do the neckline, and then I'm going to do the sleeves, and then I'm going to go back. And once that top part is done and everything is nice and, you know, secure and fitting correctly, I'll be able to tell if I need to knit any more length or if I'm good to just do the bottom band. And I've decided I'm going to do a garter stitch band at the bottom. You know me, I don't really care for garter stitch that much in things like this, like as far as edgings, but I don't want to do ribbing because it'll pull in at the bottom. I don't want to do seed stitch because there's no other seed stitch anywhere in this thing. Well, there's no other garter stitch either. But with this particular yarn, I mean, I could do seed stitch, I guess, but I'm not doing seed stitch anyplace else. I just don't know that that would be the best bet. But anyway, I had gone into Ravelry and I had looked at a bunch of other finished sweaters, and I saw some that were done in variegated yarns, and the garter stitch bottom actually looked really nice. So I'm thinking that might be the way to go. That's what I'm going to try first. If it doesn't work out, I can rip it out and do something else. But that's going to be what I'm going to do. So anyway, I still have four balls of yarn left, skeins of yarn. I think that's going to be plenty to do the neckline and the sleeves and then my bottom band. I think that'll be fine. I'm not going to make the sleeves super long. I'm probably just, I'd like to do them longer than this. I don't want just little cap sleeves really. I think I'm going to try to do it like mid upper arm. We'll see how that works out. And I'm going to just do the sleeves in the 2x2 ribbing like the whole rest of the top of it is. What else? Yeah, that's about it with that. I'm really happy with it. Oh, Bonnie did bring me an extra skein because she had used this yarn for a project as well, and she said, oh, I think I have some left over, and she did. So I have a backup 5th skein if I need it. It's not the same dye lot, but I could probably get away with it if I alternated, you know, if I needed to. But this computer fan is really bothering me, and I'm really, really sorry if you can hear it. I don't know what else to do. All right. Anyway, that's the Slinky Ribs pullover by Wendy Bernard from the book Custom Knits, by the way. And I'm knitting that out of Mirasol Hacho in the colorway 304 on US 6s. Now, whenever I do the neckline, I'm going to use 4s. The sleeves, I'll still do it on 6s. And the bottom band, I will probably go down. I don't know if I'll do 4s. I may do 5s just to... I don't know. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I may do it on 6s. It's going to be an experiment. That bottom band is just going to completely be an experiment. Okay. So I now still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 more projects to show you, all of which I have started since the last time I recorded. Craziness, right? Absolutely craziness. All right. Well, since I finished my oh boy. My movie knitting socks. I have to find the right bags now. Here they are. I needed to cast on another pair that I could use for movie knitting, so that meant plain vanilla sock. And I'm keeping these in my glamping bag from Sew For You. I've shown this to you before. Sew For You by Courtney. Love this little bag. I decided to cast on using a sock blank. Since I bought some at Maryland this year and I have not knit with them yet, I decided now is the time I'm going to give a sock blank a try. So I cast on the one that I'd gotten from Knitty and Color, which I am calling this my Bright Sparkly Rainbow Socks. It's not really a rainbow because it doesn't have all the rainbow colors, but it's rainbow enough for me. So, and it is on a sparkly sock base. She doesn't have a name on Ravelry for her sock blanks, and nor on the little card, and I don't know where the card is at this point. It was basically just called the blue, let me see, where is it? Blue, yellow, pink sparkle base, or colorway. Blue, yellow, pinks was the colorway. Anyway, so that's what I started. What I did do first, though, you can this is a mirror. Like it was, if you fold it in half, the colors would have been the same on both sides. I ripped out about half of this blue and just wound it into a ball and did not use it because I did not want this much blue in the top of my sock because, again, I don't knit my socks that long, and really if you double this, that's about as long as the blue would have been. So I didn't want that. So this is how much I've gotten. And again, just 1x1 rib at the top and plain vanilla stockinette everywhere else. It looks very lumpy and textured because you're knitting with kinky yarn. Can't say I'm a super big fan of this yet. It's okay. I mean, I'm not hating it, but it's not as pleasing to be knitting with this as it is to be knitting with a regular yarn that's never been kinked up like this before. The other thing that I think might be an issue for me is the fact that it does have the stellina in it. And I think the fact that the stellina has already been knit into the fabric and now it's being pulled out and reknit, it seems to have more grab to it than any other stellina yarn that I've worked with before, because I've knit with it before, and even the sparkly stuff that was in that Nurmalintu yarn, it was fine. So I don't know if it's the fact that it's already been kinked up that's giving it a little extra grab. I don't know. It's just not flowing as easily as socks normally do. But I am loving the colors. She's got crazy awesome color sense, and I love how bright her colors are. And this is actually, I think, the first I've ever knit with anything from her. So, yeah. I can't wait to get into the next section where it's going to go into the pink and the yellow meat, and there's like this great orange in there. Oh my gosh. I just love it. So anyway, I'm just knitting away on these. When I first started them, it's like, that's all I wanted to knit. It's like, I can't do that. This is supposed to be movie knitting. Although we didn't go to a movie this week, so I didn't get to watch it or knit it. But these will be on the needles probably for a while. And I'm going to just do the no waste yarn afterthought heel with them, because I am now a convert to that. And I love afterthought heels to begin with. So, alrighty. What else? I cast that on, and then because I had finished the Nurmalintu, I did not have an active shawl going, and so I had to fix that. So I came in my office one night, and I thought, what do I have that I could work on? Well, seeing as it hit September, and don't fall. Sorry, I was talking, no project. Project bag. I was really in the mood to not only cast on all the sweaters, but also to cast on anything fall colored. Like, suddenly fall colors were what I wanted to work with. And so I pulled 3 different yarns off of one of my cubbies that's been here forever. And they're all Tweedy yarns. And they're definitely very autumnal. I had 6 balls of this Plymouth tweed in this pumpkin-y orange color. It's actually color number 5327. So I had 6 balls of this, and then I had 1 ball each of, this is Queensland Collection Kathmandu DK. It's a little bit lighter weight than this. This is technically an Aran weight. It's categorized as Aran weight. I think it's more of a worsted, but it's knitting up fine with these. So I had no plan. I just decided to follow that same elongated triangular shawl recipe that I used for my scrappy shawl, where you increase on the ends on both the right and the wrong side, and in the center just on the right side. I'm using that same format, but I'm adding some color to it as I go. So let me turn this the correct way. And yeah, so this is what I'm doing. So I'm not only adding color, but I'm also, the green is providing some garter ridges. So once it's done and blocked, it should have some pretty cool texture. And I'm changing it up. Each of the orange sections is going to be a little wider as I go. And then the color sections I would also like to make a little wider as I go. However, this is the only amount of yarn that I have for that. So unless I have more hiding somewhere, and that's not, I can't rule that out. I may. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, because if I run out of these, then it's just going to be all orange. So I don't know. But I'm basically just creating this on the go, knitting it on the fly, so to speak. The main orange color is looking much, much darker right there than it is there. If I hold it back, it's much more accurate. But I love these colors together, and I wanted to have something just fun. I've been knitting on this in the evenings a little bit at a time. Yeah, look at all the ends, because I'm not carrying all those yarns up the edge, because I don't like that look on a shawl. So I'll have a billion ends to weave in. But anyway, I knit on it in the evenings. However, the Kathmandu is fine. It's nice and soft, has a nice, decent bounce to it. Plymouth tweed, as much as I love Plymouth tweed, and I do, it almost feels like knitting with cotton, and my hands start to hurt. There's just not a lot of give to it, and it's definitely got a rustic feel to it. I mean, I could wear it close to my skin if I wanted to. Like, it's not rough, scratchy like that, but it's definitely rustic feeling. And my hands just start to hurt after a while. So I can't knit on this project in big chunks of time. But that's okay. I'm having fun with it. So again, no pattern, just me doing my own thing on that one. I don't know that I'll actually ever write it up and do a pattern either. We'll see. But I like having a basic recipe that you can throw other elements into, and that's basically what I've got going with that elongated triangular shawl formula that I've been using. I just like it. So, all right. Then last Thursday was the final. Let's see, what bag do I want next? I think this bag was the final preseason football game for the Steelers. And I actually sat and I watched the first half. It was way too painful to watch the whole thing. This is not looking good for this season. I mean, I don't know. The opener is this Thursday against the Patriots, and I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, oh, and by the way, I have started a 2015-16 football season thread in the 90% Knitting group. So join in if you want to talk about football and what you're knitting and everything. And it doesn't have to be pro ball. If you follow college ball or high school, whatever, come and talk football with us. Football and knitting. It's a good combination. Anyway, my project for the last several years has been my never-ending Afghan of Doom. And since I finished that, I needed something new. So I've decided this football season I'm going to go back to my my hand-spun log cabin Afghan squares and work on those during the football games. So this was the one that I worked on this week, and this was out of, I don't know the fiber. I want to say it was probably BFL, but I could be wrong. But the colorway was Coffee at Luke's. It was a club colorway that I did. I think I did it for one of the installments of the trifecta of Awesome Yarn Club. I'm pretty sure that's when I dyed this one. Anyway, this is how it's looking. I love these hand-spun log cabin squares, and I haven't worked on them in a really long time, so I'm looking forward to doing them during football season this year. I like doing them enough that once I start one, it's like I just want to keep working on it, but I have to make myself stop, otherwise I won't get other knitting done. And this I'm keeping in my bird leg bags TARDIS bag, which I have not used this bag in a while, so it's perfect size for this kind of a project. So there was that. Then and I'll be talking about this more in the shop section, but I have a new yarn base that I wanted to test out. And if you remember a long time ago, if you followed my shop, I used to have a base called Squish. It was a 75-25 superwash wool and nylon. It was a much more, it wasn't nearly as soft because it was not a merino yarn. It was colonial, I believe, was the yarn, the wool. So it was a little rougher. I mean, once it was knit up, it was fine. It wasn't uncomfortable to wear or anything. And the thing I liked about it was the fact that it was a very hard-wearing yarn, a hard-wearing sock yarn. I used to call it my workhorse base. I discontinued carrying it because, number one, I was carrying a whole bunch of sock yarns at that time, and I still am, but I felt like I didn't need to carry so many. And that one I was having quality issues with, too. And so I chose that one to discontinue. I've missed having that workhorse yarn in my lineup, though. So I decided to look for another one. And what I have found, let's see, oh goodness. Oh, here it is. In my little hedgehog bag by, where's the card for this one? Star Knits. It's a Star Knits bag. The yarn that I got to replace it is also a 75-25, but the wool is Corriedale, and I think it's awesome. It is very squishy. It's a 3-ply. It's a fingering weight, about 383 yards per skein, so it's a little heavier of a fingering weight than my bounce base, where you get 400 yards for 100 grams. So, but it is so squishy and fluffy, and I mean, you can feel that it's got a little bit more tooth to it than a merino would have, but it is so soft. I love it. Anyway, this is also a new colorway, and this will be in the shop this week. This is called Barn Dance. It's a 3-stripe, and I've knit up a sample sock using the yarn. I mainly wanted to test out the yarn, but I also wanted to see how the striping pattern was going to work out. And here it is. It's a 3-stripe. You've got it's a red that's been overwashed with gray, so that's one stripe, and then you've got which symbolizes the barn, the outside of the barn, and then you've got the brown for the barn floor, and then you've got a variegated stripe in here, which this side it worked out there mostly just one stripe of that orange. Let's look at this side. Here we go. It has colors of what you would find at a barn dance in the decorations. So there's a gold, there's a green, and there's this burnt orangey kind of color in there. So there's 3 different colors in the variegated stripe. The heel really shows it too on this side. And again, I did the no waste yarn afterthought heel perfectly fine. Yeah, so new base yarn, new colorway. I love how it knit up. It's so soft and squishy, and it's very, very comfortable. So this is a win. I will have a bunch of colorways this time in the shop in this base. I'm going to be ordering more of it. Yeah, it was definitely a win, and I'm glad to have a workhorse yarn back in my lineup, because the Colonial definitely, or the Corriedale, is definitely a little bit harder wearing than, say, Merino. Yeah. But anyway, I was very happy with how that experiment turned out. Sorry, needles clicking on my keyboard here. Okay, so that was another project. I probably am not going to work on the second sock right away, just because I just wanted to have the one right away to show you, and also to be able to talk about the base. The second one can wait a little while. But I had also promised Christopher that the next pair of socks that I cast on would be for him, which obviously was a lie because there's 2 other pairs of socks. But he wanted a decorative pair of socks as opposed to just a plain vanilla sock or a ribbed sock this time. And I wasn't, but he still wanted them to be stripy. So I had to think about that a little bit. I didn't want to do the vanilla beans again since I had just done a pair. But I did want to use this new base for him because he can be a little hard on his socks too, and I wanted them to be well wearing. So one of the colorways that I also dyed up on this base is my, sorry, I hear something going on outside, is my double tap colorway, which is inspired by the movie Zombieland. And there will be some of this in the shop this week, because even though it's not specifically a Halloween colorway, zombies, you know, zombies work for Halloween. So anyway, this is double tap, and this is also on this. I'm calling the new base Squish 2.0. I don't think I mentioned that before. It's just the best name I can think of for it because it is very, very squishy, and it's along the same lines as the original one. So anyway, this is the sock that I'm making for him, and I'm using the Blueberry Waffles pattern, and that is by Sandy Turner. Now the pattern is actually written for DK weight yarn. Super easy to adjust for whatever weight of yarn you're using though, because it's really just 4 rows. 2 rows you do one way, 2 rows you do the other way, and you get this neat, squishy, waffly looking pattern. And it's super squishy on this yarn. So I love how it's turning out. He's got super big feet, so that's why it looks so humongous, because I'm working this over 72 inches as opposed to my usual 60 that I do for myself. I love it. I love how it's turning out, and I love how it's turning out in these colors. And I don't think the pattern detracts at all from the stripiness. So that was what I was going for. I originally thought I might do something with a cable, but I didn't want to add a strong vertical element. I like this better. So fun pattern. And I did all of this yesterday. I just sat and knit. Well, not all day, but that's the thing. It's knitting up super fast. This base, it wants to knit itself. So anyway, that was all the socks. And then I have one more project that I started. I know, crazy. I was going through one of my bins that I have D-stash yarn in because somebody had asked about something, so I was looking for it. And I don't know if you do this, but every once in a while I'll go through my D-stash yarn and I'll see something and I'll be like, why did I put that in there? Why am I getting rid of that? I like that. And so I take it back out of D-stash and keep it for myself. Well, that was the case with this particular yarn. I'm still not sure why I originally put it in there. But again, fall colors, baby. This is the yarn. And this is some Diabolical. This is her Strong Arm Skinny, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. Sorry, Diabolical. This was one of her unnamed colorways. And I bought this several years ago, and it's been sitting in my stash. That might be why I just tossed it into my D-stash. Although Diabolical is not something that I would ordinarily do that with, because I really like her stuff. Anyway, it's been rescued back out, and I decided I wanted to do a really drapey, fall-colored kind of scarfy thing. I wanted to be really open, like maybe dropped stitches, kind of like a, what's that diagonal shawl that has the dropped stitches? It was a knitty pattern. I can't remember. I've made a couple of them. I didn't want to make another one though. So instead I decided to do, let me find the front page. This is called Augustine. It's called the Augustine Shawlette actually. And this isn't the greatest picture to show you the details of it. Essentially what it is, it's a shawl that you weigh as you go. So you're going to knit halfway through your yarn and then you start decreasing so it tapers. Okay. So here's the beginning of it. And it doesn't look like a whole lot. It actually looks funky right now because it's just like a tail. It looks like a wiggly tail. But this will be the straight side of it. And then this is the increasing side. And then every time you increase a segment, you go through the stitches or the pattern a certain number of rows. It adds a yarn over, which is the point where eventually those stitches will be dropped and it'll open up. So that is the shape. It's really fun. It's very, very mindless, fairly intuitive, although I have been paying attention to the pattern just enough so that I don't mess something up. Really easy. And again, I did all of this just yesterday too. I'm knitting this on US 3s because the pattern says to knit it on a size bigger than what you'd use for whatever yarn. And you can, that's the thing, you can use whatever size yarn for this. And the designer is Valdis Vrang. So it's the Augustine Shawlette by Valdis Vrang. So yeah, this is all of my projects. Crazy. I don't know. I guess I had startitis this past week and a half. But whatever. I'm having fun with it. I even did some spinning. This has been on my wheel for a while and I finished it up. This is the Colors of Venice, which was another, this was a club colorway from a long time ago. It wasn't even the club, it was my unclub when I was doing, like, people would send in inspiration pictures and then you guys would vote and I would dye up a colorway based on whatever won. This was Colors of Venice, and I don't remember what base this was. I think it was probably BFL. It could have been something else. I don't remember. But it's done now. I did a traditional 3-ply. That's what the big skein is. I got about 130 some yards. And then the little one was, there was leftovers on 2. Yeah, there was leftovers on 2 bobbins. I thought I'd Navajo plied this, but I didn't. This is just a 2-ply, and it's like 30 yards. So anyway, that's all the spinning I've done. I didn't have time to spin. I was knitting too much. So that's everything. That is everything I have worked on. I need to take a sip of coffee. Very cold coffee at this point. Let's talk about the Alphabet Knit Along, because it's still going on. We're in our final month, and I have winners to announce. Let me do that first. The August knitters are winners. I drew for them this morning. There were 299 points earned in August. So yay for all of you guys. Thank you so much for participating. And that was 46 different people entering things. So we have 3 prizes this month. And the first one is this set of Heidi and Lana stitch markers that I am donating. And the winner for the stitch markers was Diarensal, Diarhensal. And her winning project for that was the Samadhi wrap. It's called Samadhi. I'm going to say it's a wrap. It looks like a wrap. So anyway, congratulations. I didn't write down people's actual names this time, so I'm sorry. But Diarensal, you are the winner of these stitch markers, so please PM me on Ravelry and send me your mailing address so that I can send you your fun little prize. And thank you so much for knitting with us. The second prize is the $10 gift certificate for patterns for Melinda Vermeer's Ravelry pattern shop. She has kindly donated a $10 gift certificate for each month of the knit along. So this month's winner of that is Podam, P-O-D-A-M. And her winning project was the Mias de Retrosaria socks, M-E-I-A-S, de Retrosaria. So congratulations, Podam. Please PM me and I will hook you up with your $10 gift certificate donated by Melinda. So congratulations for that. Lastly, we have this beautiful little bag. It's actually not little, it's a very nice size bag with the coffee theme from Prairie Bag Works. There's their little tag, Prairie Bag Works. Cute zipper pull, zigzaggy fabric, pocket, 2 pockets, little snap closure thing that you can use on the inside, some knitting cards that say knit for. So when you're giving gifts, you can use those. So the winner of this bag was Alita Casey, A-L-I-T-A-C-A-S-E-Y. That's your username on Ravelry. And her winning project was the swirl hat. So congratulations, Alita Casey. Please PM me with your mailing address so that I can get this project bag in the mail to you. And thank you again, Prairie Bag Works, for donating that bag for a prize for the knit along. So there we go. Last month, this is the last month of the knit along, and we have new prizes. So this month it is letters T through Z. We started on September 1st. There's a new finished object thread that you can start posting your stuff in as you finish it. The same rules apply, so please, just if you need a reminder, look at the main thread. You pretty much got it down. There weren't too many errors in posting things this time. So anyway, prizes. Let me tell you about the 3 prizes we have this month. Again, we will have one more $10 gift certificate from Melinda Vermeer for any of her patterns on Ravelry. Then Heidi from Undead Yarns sent this beautiful skein of Every Day is Halloween. This is a self-striping yarn in her Vampiri base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 462 yards, fingering weight. It is gorgeous and soft and lovely. So one of you will be winning this, which is perfect because it's just in time for Halloween. That is one prize. And then the other prize will be from me, and it will be one of my flurry kits. And it will be in the Earthenware Red and Sunken Treasure Gold colorway. And so you get the 2 skeins of yarn and the coupon code that you can download the pattern for free to do the cowl. It's a colorwork cowl. You can get that off of Ravelry. So those will be the 3 prizes for September. Yay! And if you remember, there will be a grand prize available if you participated every single month and, you know, put a at least one qualifying object in every single month. I am going to do a grand prize drawing from just those people. Okay, I will do that after the close of the whole knit along, and I will tell you a little bit more about how that's going to take place. It's going to need a little bit of participation from you guys, but anyway, I have decided that the grand prize is going to be a $100 gift certificate to my shop. So Fiber Nymph Dye Works, $100 gift certificate, $25 for each month of participating. But you have to have participated in all 4 months with a qualifying object. So Anyway, that's it for the knit along. If you have any questions, just write in the thread, the main thread, the chatter thread, or PM me. Let's see. I have some new things to share with you. Heidi was kind enough to not only send a skein of yarn for the prize for the knit along, but she sent me a skein too. And this is Monster High, which is also on her Vampiri base and is also self-striping. Really pretty subtle colors in this one. And I cannot wait to see how it knits up. So, anyway, it's got this orange bit in it, which, where's the orange? I love orange. You know me and my oranges. There was a little bit of orange I saw somewhere, I think. I don't know. The colors are just really, really fun in this, and I can't wait to see it. But anyway, thank you so much, Heidi, for both the donation for the prize and for my skein. I appreciate it so much. Another new thing I got was this little book from Cooperative Press. It's called Fresh Designs Sweaters. There's a whole bunch of different Fresh Designs books, not just sweaters. I don't remember what they all are, but I'd gotten an email. Oh, mittens and gloves, hats, bags, men, shawls, scarves, kids, toys, and home. It's a whole series. Cooperative Press had sent out an email a while back putting these on sale for a short period of time. And so I grabbed this one. And you can get them, you can still get it. I don't think they're on sale anymore, but you can do either where you just pay for the PDF where they download it into your Ravelry account, or you can get the hard copy and then they also give you the e-version as well. So I got this because there are several sweaters in here that I really like. This one is called Claire M by Alexandra Virgil, and it's this really cute wrap sweater. I've never done a wrap sweater before, but I like that one. This isn't really an official overview or review of it. I just wanted to show it to you. This is a tank top, like a camisole, lacy summer camisole, which I also really like, although I think what I like most is that it's done in orange yarn. But I could see myself making that for me. So, and again, one of the things that I love about Cooperative Press's books and their patterns is they size them a wide variety of sizes, so just about anybody can wear them. I love this pullover. I don't like the fact that it's crew neck, and I'm not sure I like the cable running straight down the middle of it. But otherwise, I think it looks really comfy. So I'd have to make it with a scoop neck if I made that. That's called the Classic Cabled Crew. Well, it's a crew neck sweater, huh? I'd have to change that. By Karen Borkwin. That one's one of the ones. I love this one. It's called Ziggy by Pamela Wynn. And I love this. I love this. I can't express how much I love it. And again, it's made out of sort of orange yarn. If you want me to like a pattern, just do the pattern copy in orange yarn and I'll love it. This is kind of cute too. This is called Knots and Cables Vest. I'm not a big vest wearer, but I really like the interesting way this is put together. And it's got the cable, it's got the textured stitches, and then I can't really see, it almost, well, it's probably not going sideways. It looks different. I just like the different elements, the different textural elements of this. And I like the model's hair. It's that bright orangey red. And across it's got this cable that goes crossways. Okay, see, I'm showing like way too much of the whole thing here. Ah, not the chart. Here, wait. Let me put a piece of paper in front because I want to be able to show you the picture. I need to cover up the chart though. Oh gosh, I can't show you that either. All right, there. Let's see if I can do this without totally. I just want you to see the cable across the back. Do you see the cable across the back? I think that's really cool. Not crazy about that one. This one is really cute, but you actually have to get on Ravelry and look at the project page for it to see it in its entirety. They don't have any picture of it in this book where it shows the whole entire sweater. It's called Everything Nice Hoodie by Tori Gerbiz. Gerbiz, I don't know. It's really cute. It's a pretty plain cardigan hoodie. So you've got the hood, it's got pockets. You can only see like a touch of the pocket here. It's plain stockinette. I love the button band, that the buttons don't actually go in the button band, they go in these loops. I just think that's such a cool detail. And the sleeves, if you look at it on Ravelry, you'll see that the sleeves actually have the little thumb hole that you can loop your thumb into or hook your thumb into. That's pretty neat. But there's not a good picture of the whole thing that way in this book, which is disappointing. Lastly, this one's called Crescent by Vera Kaltenecker. And I love it. It's beautiful. It doesn't look like it fits the model well. It looks oversized for the model, especially in the shoulders and the underarms. Maybe it's just the way she's standing, but I don't think so. I think it was a little bit large on her. But if it was knit correctly to size, where you didn't have all that gapiness under the armholes, I think it would be beautiful. And it's such a unique construction, and I love that color work just on the tops. It's not like a color work yoke. It's just on the tops and in the neckband. I just think that's so unique. So anyway, that was this cute little book. I mean, that's a tiny book, but I like enough of the patterns in it that it's definitely worth what I paid, because I paid more to get the hard copy and have, you know, the PDF. So, and my last new thing, which I hope I can talk about this without getting all choked up. I got a package in the mail last week, and I saw the return address, and I knew who it was, and I thought, and it was a squishy package. I'm like, what in the world is she sending me? This was from Melissa, my friend Melissa Ananzi from the Meltran Designs podcast. I'm like, what would she be sending me that's squishy? So I opened it up, and as soon as I opened it up and could see through the tissue paper, I saw what it was, and I immediately started crying. If you follow Melissa and her podcast, or if you follow her on social media, you've probably seen this. This is the Wool Peddler shawl that she worked on last month. And it is amazing and beautiful, and I'm holding it the wrong way. It's huge. I can't even get the whole thing in the frame. Look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? And it is so soft. It was a llama silk blend yarn, so it's luxurious and soft, and it's going to be so warm. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she sent this to me, because I watched her make it, you know, on her podcast and on her picture. I don't even remember where all I saw it, because I follow her everywhere. Plus, we text all the time. But her little card that she sent with me, which I'm not going to read it to you because it was personal, but basically she was one of the first people I called last month when the day my life imploded. And she said that in her note, she just said, you know, when you called me, I just wanted to give you a hug. And I couldn't because you're a million miles away. So she said, I went to my stash and I started looking for yarn, and I knew I just had to knit you something. And so she had sent me this knitted hug. And it is one of the nicest things I've ever gotten. So I can't wait for it to cool down so that I can actually wear it. The day I got it, it was like 90 degrees and humid, and I was walking around the house with it on just because I had to wear it. I had to wear my hug from my friend. Anyway, I've already thanked her, but I'll thank her again. Thank you, Melissa. This meant so much to me, and it's just a testament to not just knitters. You know, all knitters are such wonderful people. I've never really met too many not nice knitters, but when you have friendships with other knitters, especially when they're close friendships like Melissa and I have, I don't know why it surprises me that people can be as giving as they are. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, Melissa is a kind and giving person, but when somebody actually does something big and wonderful like this for you because they care about you, you know, my first thought is, I'm not worthy of that, you know, but then it's like, I'm so thankful for it. So, anyway, I must be upsetting Muffin. She was under my desk, and she's like, oh gosh, so now she's leaving. Except I have the door shut. So anyway, that was my other new thing, and I'm just so thankful for it. So Anyway, oh my gosh, this is going to be a really long episode because I still have shop stuff to talk about, and that's already at an hour, and I'm sorry. Um, but anyway, the last thing I wanted to mention was the Shenandoah Fiber Festival is coming up at the end of September, the last weekend of September. I have never been to it. I was actually supposed to vend at it a couple of years ago, and I had to cancel out on that because other things were going haywire in my life at that point. I still would think I would like to maybe vend at it sometime, but I'd like to go to it first. So I'm actually considering maybe going to Shenandoah Fiber Festival. It's actually my birthday weekend. So I thought I might go down. I don't know. If you've been to it, I would love to hear your experience at it, what you think of it. Please let me know. Post in the thread. Because from what I've heard, it seems like it's a pretty nice show. But I'd like to hear some firsthand accounts. Let me know what you think. It's about, I think, about a 3.5-hour drive from me, so that's an easy enough weekend. I mean, heck, I've done Maryland sheep and wool in a day, and that's a little bit longer, I think. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let's move on to 10% real quick here. Mainly 10%. My pellet stove was delivered and installed last week, so I'm almost all ready for the cold weather if we ever get any, which I know I shouldn't be rushing it because once it gets here, it's going to be crazy. The only thing I don't have is pellets yet. They're coming this Friday. I'm getting 4 tons, which is 4 pallets of pellets delivered, which I hope I don't run out. I mean, everybody keeps telling me, buy early and buy enough for the whole winter because places run out of them, just like firewood. So they're coming. It's going to be a lot of 40-pound bags, but hopefully it'll get me through the winter. And yeah, we'll see. So that's exciting. I also got more dirt delivered. Yay! If you follow me on Instagram, you saw my additional dirt. It's the fine topsoil so that I could actually seed that whole area down where we had taken the tent down and filled in. So that's the final step of that. Spent a lot of time on Sunday working outside and just getting rid of tons of weeds and junk and stuff and cleaning the yard up. This summer has not been good to my yard, and I haven't had time to keep up with stuff, so I did a whole lot of work on Sunday. So it's looking much better now. I still have a little bit more to do, but for the most part, it's looking pretty good. I went kayaking. I think I did that right after I recorded last time, actually. That next I think it was a Monday night that I went. There's a group called Venture Outdoors here in Pittsburgh, which they sponsor a lot of outdoor activities. I've talked about it before. I joined it earlier this summer and then never really had a chance to go do anything. And I finally decided, you know what? It's a great way for me to get outside and do outdoor activities that I love to do, and I don't really know anybody else who does them. So I went kayaking down on the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh. I've kayaked before, but never on the big rivers in Pittsburgh. So that is why I wanted to go with a group the first time I did that. And it was fun, really fun. It was not nearly as intimidating as I thought it was going to be. And I'm signed up to go on another one next Friday. So that'll be a lot of fun too. It's a more advanced one. The one I did was a beginner one. But it was a good time. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I got my hair cut. You can tell. Cut and colored. I got it colored darker. I was tired of the light because it washes out so quickly. And I went from the red violet highlights that I had to violet red, which have turned out, you can see, to just kind of look like violet. It's not the bright purple that I used to have like years ago, but I kind of like it. It's different. I was ready for a change. My hair has been the same for a couple of years now. I mean, the color has varied a little bit, but the cut, I was so tired of having that disconnected drop off in the front and the short in the back. I needed a change. So it's shorter, it's darker, and I like it. I have not yet figured out how quite to style it the way it was styled when I left the salon the other day. What's actually nice about it, I got it done Saturday. So it was all done Saturday. Sunday and Monday, though, I was just here at home. I took a shower, washed it, brushed it, and I just let it dry by itself. And it's shaped perfectly that I can do that, and it just sort of curls up loosely, and it looked great. I don't think I would wear it that way outside of the house because I'm not crazy about it that way, but it's fine for in the house, and it eliminates having to torture it with the hair dryer and straightening it and all that. So I'm trying to let it get a little healthier again. That's the other reason why I got so much chopped off, because it was just so dry. So anyway, all right, that is everything I've got for you for the main part of the show. I do have shop update news. There is going to be an update on Saturday, September 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern, not p.m., 10 a.m. Eastern. This is going to be a huge Halloween colorway update. And I've got several new Halloween colorways. It's all self-striping, and it's all fingering weight and sport weight. So I will be doing more in future updates that is variegated and on other weights and striping on other weights, probably. Probably not all of these colorways, but this is my big Halloween update for this year. So you might want to check it out. I'm going to pause here so I can go gather everything for the update preview, and I will be right back. If you're not sticking around for that, thank you so much for sticking around for this hour and 5 minutes that you've been through. I appreciate that. And I will see you later. But if you're going to watch, hang on and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, shop update news. Let's see. First of all, let me tell you the September minis of the month did go up for pre-order back on September 1st. And here's the colorway again. I don't know if I got to show it. I don't think I had it to show you on the podcast the last time, but this is what it is. And this month, the self-striping is called Pop Art. It's a Warhol-inspired striping colorway. 3 stripes, and it doesn't want to... There we go. So that's called Pop Art, and then I've paired it with our Aqua Shock semi-solid, awesome bright blue. So that is a set. I do believe there's still, last I looked, there was still 3 sets available for pre-order, so you can grab those if you're wanting to. Then the update. The update will be this coming Saturday, September 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And again, this is mostly going to be Halloween. Not to say that I won't do some more Halloween in the future, but this was meant to be my big Halloween update. So let's start there. If you watched the first part of the podcast, then you already saw this colorway, but I'm going to show it to you again officially. This is my new colorway called Barn Dance. And I've dyed this up both on our Traveler base, which is this Superwash Merino Nylon Sport Weight, and also on my new base, which is Squish 2.0, which is 75% Superwash Corriedale, 25% nylon. This is my new, what I'm calling my new workhorse base to replace the one I discontinued a long time ago. It's really, really soft and squishy. This is a sample sock that I have knit up actually in this base and this colorway. It's wonderful. I love this base. It's going to be great, especially if you're knitting for somebody who's maybe a little harder on their socks. This is a wonderful base to try out. And it is squish. I mean, it squishes like nobody's business. It's a little toothier. You'll definitely notice, like as you're pulling it out of a center pull ball, you can feel that it's not going to slide out as easily as a merino yarn. But it's a 3-ply. It's got nylon in it. It's got the sturdier Corriedale wool as opposed to merino. It's going to stand up for you. It's going to hold up. I shouldn't say stand up. I mean, if you knit it at a tight enough gauge, if you knit anything at a tight enough gauge, it'll stand up. But anyway, Squish 2.0. So Barn Dance will be on both of those. There will also be some on Bounce. Bounce has not been reskeined yet, so I don't have it to show you, but it'll be there. So that's the first colorway. Another new colorway I have for Halloween this year, and I think I'll probably dye this at other times too, just because it's not necessarily Halloween, but it's definitely good for Halloween. I'm calling this Bump in the Night, as in things that go. So this is a 3-stripe colorway. We've got a bright purple in there, which is one of my new colors that I'm absolutely loving. And then the lime green. So there will be, and then there will be a small stripe of black in between each of those. And again, like with all my other new colorways, I'm putting up a new, a mock-up a visual mock-up in the listing so you can see how it will stripe. Although this one, I'm actually going to just take a picture of the sock so people can see that, since I've got the real thing. Why not? There will be two. This is on Traveler. There will also be 2 skeins of it on Bounce. Do I have it? I don't have it. It's not reskeined yet. My Mystery and Magic colorway that I did in the last update, I dyed up more of that. You guys really like that. That's a 7-stripe colorway in the gradients of purples, then greens, and then reds. You guys really like that. That's sold out really fast. I've dyed more of that, and this time I've dyed it up on Bedazzled and on Traveler. So fingering and sport weight. Traveler is my sport weight base, just so you know. Anytime I say Traveler, that's my sport weight. So there will be more Mystery and Magic as well. So those are the 3 newest colorways. Barn Dance, Bump in the Night, and Mystery and Magic. My other... this is also a newer colorway. I've done it before, but it's a new one this year. This is Double Tap, which again, I told you this is, this was inspired by the movie Zombieland. So you'll have 2 wide stripes, the green, the zombie green, and then the kind of blood and guts brains red. And then those are the wider stripes, and then in between those there will be the small stripes of the brown, which is the shotgun brown, and the Twinkie yellow. So those are narrow stripes. So there will be 2 skeins of that on the new base, the Squish 2.0, and 2 skeins on Bounce. No sport weight of that one, right? Did I do that on Bounce? I may have done that on Traveler. Now I don't remember. Look at the listings. You'll see that in the listings. Sorry. I think I maybe did it on Traveler. I'll have it correct in the listings. All right, then some of my previous Halloween colorways that I've done before. This one was new last year, and I honestly think I only ever dyed 1 dye lot of it, and that was it. So there's not very much of this around. This is Party at the Haunted House. And this is a 4-stripe colorway with purple, orange, green, and black. So if I can get it to... There we go. This one's on Traveler. There will also be some on Bounce. And then 2 of my oldest Halloween colorways that I believe I did the very first year are... This one, well, this is the same one. This is Hijinks. I dye this every year. Everybody seems to love Hijinks. This is orange, purple, and dark gray. Black or dark. No, this is dark gray. Sorry. Orange, purple, and dark gray. 3-stripe Hijinks. There will be 2 on the Squish Point 2.0 and 2 on Traveler. And then the other one that was one of the very first Halloween colorways I ever did is this one, which is Old School Halloween. Now this is just a 2-stripe colorway, orange and black, but the thing about it is how it stripes. It stripes in kind of a Doppler effect striping pattern. So the stripes are small, and then the next ones are bigger, and then 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 they start to get smaller again. And again, I'll have a mock-up of that so you'll be able to see that. And just so you know where the very beginning is, if you want to start with the smallest, the end that has the smallest stripes, it'll be denoted by one of these little decorative buttons. The end that has the button, that's the end that starts out with the narrowest stripe. So I always like to give you that heads up. So there'll be some of that on Traveler, the Sport, and then some of that on Squish 2.0. So that's that. I told you about Mystery and Magic. I have that as well. I just don't have it to show you right now because it's actually still drying. The other thing I will have is some of the Halloween colored inversibles. They're the black and the orange, these same colors in inversible form. I'll have 4 sets of those available as well. I think that's everything for the Halloween stuff. So that's a lot. I love doing Halloween colors. It's so much fun. And my brain is already cooking for some new Christmas colorways, holiday, wintry colorways too. I can't wait to do those and show you. But let's get through Halloween first, okay? A couple other odd things that I'm just going to be throwing in the update just because I have them. I have a leftover skein from a special order of abalone in the Traveler base, and an extra skein of Gnome Place Like Home on Bounce. So those will both be up in the shop. Not Halloween colors, but I have them, so I might as well offer them to you. Plus, I think there'll probably be some sets of inversibles, like probably just one-off sets first that are leftovers from special orders as well. So, okay, that is everything. Again, the update will be on Saturday, September 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern. I just wrote 10 Eastern in my notes. That's why I keep wanting to say 10 p.m., but it's not 10 p.m. 10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, September 12th. And I will be taking pictures and putting up preview listings soon-ish, throughout the rest of the week, obviously. So be watching. I'll probably post something in all the usual places. Facebook, the Facebook page for Fiber Nymph Dye Works, in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Ravelry. I usually announce updates on Plurk. I don't usually put too much on Instagram because I try not to have Instagram be a whole lot of business, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't like to use Instagram that way. But I usually maybe will post like one picture, say, hey, look what's going on. You know, these are all for the shop update or something, just so that it's out there. In case that is the only other social media you use, then you won't miss it. So I try to do a balance. Anyway, all right, that's everything. Hey, have a great rest of your week. I hope you're enjoying your September. Maybe it's getting a little cooler, fallish where you are. I know Disa was saying that it's actually getting cold in Sweden in her days, so I'm jealous, Disa. I want to have some cold weather too. I don't really want to be able to have to use my pellet stove yet. That I'd like to put off for a little while, but I would like a little bit less heat and humidity. I just had to go around and turn all my air conditioners on when I paused before. So, alrighty, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.